it makes files we could email or whatever.
So if you guys want, we can give him our emails and then he can send us. I would
That's what I
assume.
was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Doesn't mean you can steal each other's ideas, but you at least have yours.
Who's going first?
Did you say you wanted to go, Jim?
Yeah, my prompt was once when I was in grade school.
Okay.
I something.
All right, and before you do start, don't say if it's made up or if it's real, and then we can sit there and see if we can figure out. So, okay.
Okay. Once when I was in grade school, I watched a gray squirrel climb down a tree limb and through a classroom window. He hopped along the floor until he reached the front of the classroom, where he stopped to look up at the teacher. Okay. Then, spooked by a loud noise in the hallway, he froze momentarily and then fled at lightning speed back towards the window. Obviously not thinking clearly, he ran up the leg of the poor girl sitting next to me on his way out, causing her to stand and scream hysterically. I felt really bad for my classmate, but that was one memorable day at grade school.
Yeah, that sounds real.
Yeah, it's real.
It's pretty real. It actually happened in grad school, but so technically, I guess that's real.
What? I didn't hear what animal was it? A squirrel?
Squirrel, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So,
What was the name of your prompt again?
Once
once when I was in grade school,
Oh, grade, grad, they're real close.
yeah, pretty close.
At least the first four letters.
Yeah, you sit there listening to people talk most of the day.
All right. Hard to follow that lead, but I'll go next. All right, Horace Sadler. Mine is, once I put in the dryer.
Blank in the dryer? Or?
No, it just says, once I put in the dryer, ...
Oh, okay.
Okay. Wow, look at the sun, shining so bright. I think I'm going to wash clothes today. I love the smell of fresh dryer sheets tumbling in the dryer. A clean house is a godly house. My mom used to say that to us all the time. For a long time, I thought I was going to hell for stuffing all my junk under my bed and not actually cleaning my room. As I sort my clothes into 4 basket loads, blacks, dark colors, light colors, and whites. Once they are sorted, the darkest colors get washed first, all the way up to the whites. Since I use tons of bleach on my white clothes, I don't want to mess up any darks with bleach stains. I can hear the washer whirling and spinning until it came to a stop. I put my clothes in the dryer, then my dryer sheets. Vanilla and sandalwood infused dryer sheets, my favorite. Once I put in the dryer a pair of my husband's pants with mine. The whole house smelled like the state of California on election day of legalized marijuana. I will never allow his clothes to commingle with mine ever again. The scent is overwhelming and refreshing. We live in a home where washers and dryers are still used in the basement. When the dryers start, it's as if the vents in the house say thank you, as if they too know that winter is over.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's real.
Everything except for the vanilla infused dryer sheets. I'm still trying to come up with that myself. I keep throwing all these dryer sheets in there to make that one sentence not happening.
Sandalwood.
Yeah, so
Just burn incense while you're doing
I
that.
was thinking essential oils on the aluminum foil.
There you go.
okay. Yeah, my husband and his pants are not allowed to go in my dryer.
Wow.
It's the whole bottle of vanilla.
Was it his pants or was it something in the pants?
There was something in the pants.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I picked up on something there.
I was drying his weed in the dryer with my clothes. And
Try to get it nice and dry that way. Store's better that way.
Sandalwood smelling kush.
Right.
Yeah, sandalwood kush. So I was thinking he couldn't have been happy about that.
No, he walked in the house. That's what I said. I was overwhelmed. He said it was refreshing.
It's pretty expensive softener. I mean, for the scent, I mean, you know.
So yeah, that actually happened.
So what happens next time you go and you do 4 loads of laundry if you've done whites the last time with all the bleach?
No, well, by that time, we all have our designated days. It gives the washer time to dry, so the bleach just dries up when the washer's open. So we leave the hood up off of it and they dry. It keeps because and it's weird because my whole family wash like this, and so by the time the next person goes down, they won't have to worry about the bleach jumping on their clothes.
Huh.
Yeah, so we wash them from dark.
Never
to
knew
light.
that.
I didn't either.
Well, yeah, because if you do white to dark, you can have bleach somewhere on your dark clothes.
I've
by
never
the
used
time-
bleach. That's why.
Oh, no. See, I throw tons of bleach because I wash all my clothes in cold, whether they're dark, light, bright. Everything's washed in cold water. We never use hot water for anything when it comes to washing.
I just don't buy whites.
Yeah, well, I tried that, but my husband, I got 2 pairs of white underwear and the rest is all black.
I throw it all together in cold. It works well.
Yeah.
I throw
bleach.
stain, one of those stain
bleach.
blockers
No
in.
bleach, yeah, it's fine.
But believe
Everything
it or
goes in
not,
cold.
you save so much money not washing in hot water, and it's weird because
It's better for the clothes.
yeah. I grew up washing. My mother was hot, tons of bleach, and so me it's like, no, we're gonna do all color clothes. Everything is gonna be in cold water, and we use bleach at the end of the wash. So, yeah. Okay, so that was a true story.
That's good.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Good aromas.
Okay, the one that I'm responding to is once when I was sawing. My neighbor came over to voice his concern that the old tree in the backyard, where the ants had taken up living and were eating out and hollowing the trunk, he was so concerned that it was going to fall, and it was tall, and it was big, and he's worried that the next time that the big storm blew up, that it would fall and break and take out the split wood fence in the backyard. I wasn't sure why he was so concerned about my fence. I called an arborist because I love the old tree, and I didn't want to cut it down. I wanted it to be there as long as it could be there. The arborist came out. He climbed into the tree, and he evaluated the situation. He said that the root system was strong, and that if he thinned out the branches and used steel cables to anchor the 3 main branches together, there would be no need to cut it down. And then he said, if a storm blows it down, you have homeowners to cover the damage, don't you? So he returned with 2 others, and they climbed high into the tree, pruned it, cabled it. 2 years later, my neighbor came back. Same concern. I called the arborist, who immediately said, aren't you the one whose neighbor was complaining about that tree? I said, yeah. He says, he complaining again? I said, yeah. He says, look, that tree isn't going anywhere. Don't listen to him. I was kind of surprised that the arborist didn't suggest that he come out and make another $500 visit. To this day, the saw that I bought to cut down that tree is still in the shed that stands in the shade of this mighty maple. This doesn't mean that I will never use the saw. The following fall, I became discouraged with a bush that insisted it was a tree and kept growing beyond the rooftop. When I was sawing the branches of that bush tree, my neighbor came over and said, this time offering to attach a rope to my tree to his truck and pulling out the whole thing. I declined his offer, and I decided that this man really doesn't like trees. This spring, the tree that I pruned has grown new life. I'm sure my neighbor will be back with something else that needs to be cut down or pulled out. I wish he'd offer to cut the grass or trim around the fence. I could say yes to that.
That's good.
Is it?
I have an uncle that's got a chainsaw, and
He has to
brings
cut
it when he
everything.
visits my mom. And he cuts down every single tree he gets his hands on. It's just,
When you got a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Exactly, yeah. Some people
I'd
like-
always heard they, have to compensate somehow.
What? I loved cutting things down with a chainsaw.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a guy thing, but okay.
Yeah, it's like,
Me man, watch cut.
Yeah.
especially involving a truck too.
So,
Yeah,
Cora?
a very male solution, wrapped in
I
thing.
think it's false.
I think it's true.
It's true.
It is true.
It's true.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in fact, this year I'm waiting for the tree that I pruned way back to really get some green on it, because I know he's going to come over and say he wants to pull it out, because right now it just looks like 3 big stems sticking up.
Yeah,
It's
he'll-
the thing. He'll be back.
Yeah, they'll come back.
So now have you looked at his yard and go, you know what? I was looking at your yard and.
No, actually, what happened was he told me he was cutting down this beautiful tree, and I went over and I begged him. I said, "Why are you going to cut down that tree?" He says, "Oh, my wife doesn't like the mess it makes." I said, "What if I volunteer to clean up the mess of the tree? Please don't cut it down. I just love trees. You know? Please don't cut it down." And he says, "No, if my wife wants it cut down," I said, "Oh God, this guy, he's such a pussy." So I was so upset the day they cut.
I think Kunk is the parlance of our time.
Yeah. I was so upset the day they cut that tree down. He actually came over to see me. He said, "You're not okay with this, are you?" I said, "No, I'm not. I am really upset about it." And he apologized to me that he cut down the tree. And he says, "I promise I'll plant something else there." And he did. I just don't like when you just cut to cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband said we have this really huge, I don't know what, it looks old, but I don't know what it is. And it's like, he's been living in the house for 44 years, and he said that tree's been there longer than him. So I said, he was like, "Well, do you think we should cut it down?" I said, "Oh yeah, it's big enough for what I'm about to do with it." And so he said, "Well, what are you going to do with it?" I said, "Well, hell, if you cut it down, I don't have to buy a coffin. Just make it." That tree is still standing.
Yeah. Good for you.
So, yeah.
You're making a mausoleum.
Well, I think it was neat that somebody thought it was true and somebody thought it was not true. That's interesting. And the other thing, I didn't think it was interesting enough. That when I listened to yours have a little more flavor, a little more creative, a little more colorful. So that's part of what I struggle with is how to get it more, what draws people in,
Details. Especially, I think, unusual details.
Yeah.
Things that sound like they're...
Or if they can relate, like I've had a neighbor that wanted to cut everything down, so it's like I can visualize.
Okay.
I know something too, especially I noticed it with hers is throwing in those sensory details. Like she said, the smell of the vanilla.
Okay.
Those kind of things. You taste stuff, you touch
that
stuff.
too.
Okay,
Yeah, and
that's good.
The senses.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Who's next? I can go next. As a 40-something, I got the opportunity to play in my workplace's intramural softball team. Mine was once I raced. I look like... As a 40-something, I got the opportunity to play in my workplace's intramural softball team. Different departments form their own teams. From the IS department, we put together a team of men and women called Team Spam, as in the junk email you receive that you don't want. Some were athletic, others not so much. I hadn't played softball since just after high school, and being out of shape, I was probably the team's worst player. My only saving grace was that I purchased a blue with yellow wording Spam t-shirt from the online Spam store. In our second game of the season, I went up to bat last in the order since I had trouble even making contact with the ball. I had even taken batting practice at the local cages, but the 11-year-old girls hitting balls at twice the speed I could really made me sad. In the game, I went up to the plate and tried not to strike out. The first pitch I connected with, but it went foul. The second one I swung and missed. On the third, the pitch went wide right and I got a ball. Finally, on the fourth one, I not only made contact, but I blooped into the shallow right field. Excited I actually hit the ball, I raced to first base as fast as I could, with a plodding, unsightly gait. About halfway there, I noticed my field of vision started to tilt left. I thought, I'm falling as I started to go down. My right leg went out in front of me, and my left leg curled underneath my butt, so it looked as if I was sliding, except that I wasn't. The whole thing happened in slow motion as if it was happening in a movie. As I hit the sandy baseline, I fell into a giant heap. As I lay still on the ground, I immediately took a quick damage report of my body. Different parts hurt, but not in a broken bone or sprained ankle way. I was only bruised and scraped up. The issue was I didn't want to get back up in front of all these people. In short, the shame was holding me down as a hush went through the crowd. I knew things would be okay when my coworker Matt, a sort of younger brother to me, laughed out loud. I could hear him from across the field. With this encouragement, I rose slowly and limped off the field. I was done for the day, but would return in our next game and for the rest of the season.
It's true.
I'd say it's false.
True.
I say true.
False.
You know the answer.
I know the answer.
Yeah, it's a true story.
That's going to be true.
I'm patting out here.
Well, he's so good with telling yarns that I just figured it was yarn, you know.
Wow.
I want to write a whole little creative nonfiction about that season and
That'd
just
be
about my lack of athleticness for anything. my best thing that I'm good with is fantasy football. That's totally So yeah, that's so embarrassing. So embarrassing.
Lots of opportunity to be embarrassed when you're playing baseball or softball. I mean,
Especially in front
everybody's
of-
watching you when you're
In front of
Yeah,
coworkers.
Yeah.
In front of coworkers who still tell that story today.
Yeah.
It's legendary.
I'll go next.
You want to turn towards you?
I was thinking about it. Thank you.
Well, you're so, you're doing so good to everybody else that you forget for yourself and be like, no!
I did, you're right. My prompt was once when I had a test, but I liked better once when I had a nest. Once when I had a nest, I went, now you wait till the end and see if you can figure out if it really happened or it's not. Once when I had a nest, I wondered why everybody didn't. I mean, it's practical when you think in terms of upkeep. The missus liked the idea of hanging tchotchkes around, baskets she collected over the years. I told her downsizing was just something you have to do eventually. Why wait for it? It can be uncomfortable. We had to fish around for something less prickly than what a majestic eagle would find comfortable. Our solution was something unorthodox. We lined the baskets with fresh baked bread. You'd think that was nearly as discomforting, and it did start to reek of mold. It was cheaper than the alternative. She and the kids never did like the taste of those breads you make from the box. And yes, I know heating and cooling temperature thing may not be completely ideal, but think of it this way. You never have to pour concrete into a sinking driveway that swallows it like a carp swallows a lure. The period after our first 5 years is what my biographer will call golden nest years. We'd grown into it, almost forgot the various things we missed all those years before. And I'm sure it's too on the nose to say so, but the girls had left us with an empty nest. Now we had the space we wanted, were able to reutilize the spaces they occupied. Kristen started searching for baskets again. Myself, I took a fancy to the idea of getting a car. But I don't know, it was something I only thought about in passing. It was an advancement less than necessary after all the time without it. There was an Amish family only 20 or 30 trees south of us. We had them over and they thought they were living in heaven by the time they went home. They said we may not have batteries or their community, but sitting there, closer to the sky and with the sounds of the woods all around us, it struck them. They saw we managed to simplify life even more than they had. I thought, the way they talked, they were going to convince their neighbors to make nests in the neighboring woods as well as themselves. Kristen was a little more than nervous about that. It must not have caught on. We never saw the couple again and didn't tend to venture down in their direction normally. I want to tell you I never raided another nest for tasty eggs. You can't believe what my wife here tells you about me. Tells you I went with you 500 times. You can't forget that. I see it's time for after-dinner drinks. Maybe you could get those for us. She dug a little into the branches and pulled out some brandy. It's not like you can make me go away. You can't order me to the kitchen we don't have. Kitchen? You know I've gotten more cooking done down here than you'll ever shake a stick at. I'll show you a kitchen. I reached around behind me to bring up a pot with rice in it that I'd made only that afternoon, and Bob and Tom were climbing back down. We had a good time. We'll have to get together again soon, Bob said. Oh, any time is good by us, Kristen said, always the host. We never saw those guys again. I guess roughing it just isn't a lifestyle they want to share in.
I say it's real.
I think it's
No, come on, seriously. Seriously. Very funny. Yeah, I know, I made it up.
Okay, this is the one time I thought it was real.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Your last line made me think it was real because it sounded like camping.
Or
Yeah.
possibly have it like a treehouse type house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in the rewrites I would make it so you'd see the whole.
That's really cool. I mean, I'd like to live in that nest. I'd like to try that out.
Bread is an interesting choice for a building material.
Yeah. Well, I had the baskets, so it made sense
Yeah.
to me. Put something in the basket so you don't sleep on them.
I didn't think it was true because of the moldy bread. No matter where you lived, you wouldn't let your bread mold, so unless you were going to use it for penicillin or something.
We don't need bread anymore.
I just thought bread was just another word for basket weaving or something. You know, like when you basket weave trees together to make something sturdier. So that's why I thought it was true. I thought it was just slang for basketball.
I think it's really cool if you can't tell if it's true or not true.
Yeah.
There's
figured it
something
was-
about that.
I figured it was too ridiculous. I figured
It was, but I thought maybe
Yeah.
there was a kernel of truth in the bottom of it, kind of a thing. But then George Red threw it off. But I thought that's what you the direct.
And my mom used old bread for bread pudding. So if you ever go to our potluck,
Don't eat it. Well, we used old bread, but not moldy bread. There's a difference. Whoa.
Use stale bread.
Okay.
It never tastes like Jello pudding either. It's about bread pudding. Maybe it was the way it's made.
Not the same.
Yeah, it doesn't taste the same. I don't know why they call it pudding.
All right, to my up. My prompt was once a wild animal. I could smell the skunk before I saw it. My cat was outside and had met a skunk before, and I prayed that he had not made another smelly friend. I was relieved when he responded to the crumpling of a foil pouch of cookies and ran in to get his share. The skunk smell was getting stronger. I began to close windows around the house. As I reached the back bedroom, I saw it. One baby skunk, alone, and looking at me like I was in a zoo. We made eye contact from about 10 feet apart, and I told her, "You're stinky," and closed a window. She saw me move to the next window, continued to watch me with curiosity, and I told her, "You're still stinky," and closed the window. I went to the dining room where there were 3 more windows. She waddled over and tilted her head when I began to speak. "You're kind of cute, you know." She followed to the next window and the next. Each time I spoke, she'd tilt her head like she understood. "Cute but stinky. What should I call you?" On the last window, I said, "How about Petunia? Do you like Petunia, stinky girl?" I swear she grinned as she settled in the grass to sleep for the night. Moments before a wild animal, now practically a pet.
That sounds like a children's story.
Beautiful.
yeah, it's true. True, right?
It is true.
Okay. Sounds like a children's story.
You do not have pet skunks. We already
cute,
have a
though.
cat. I don't want.
Pretty big.
I don't think we want skunks.
Every
That's
little
really
kid.
adorable.
Yeah, every
Yeah,
little
they are
kid will
cute,
want a
though.
skunk.
Yeah, they really are until they
Yes.
turn around on you.
We had 3 baby ones in the back. You know, when they're really little, they're not stinky. And then somebody
She
kept
was.
warning me. Well, these were really little. I don't know. But anyway, somebody kept warning me, you better get rid of them because when they get big, they're not going to be so nice.
Yeah.
And I think, other animals got them because then there was only one coming back and then that was it. But I actually put food out for them because it's so adorable.
Petunia, was that from Bambi?
No.
Porky's
Carrot
girlfriend.
flower.
What's
It was Porky's girlfriend. Was
Oh,
Petunia.
Was that it?
Okay.
Yeah, flower was.
I knew there was
Yeah.
one called.
You can call me Flower.
After they shoot dad or whatever.
Why are they always named after flowers? Petunia, flowers.
Sarcastic.
It's ironic.
It's
Yeah, is it ironic? Yeah.
Why were we team spam?
Oh, I love that. Team Spam, I love that.
I just wasn't sure.
Oh, that part was real.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he still has the shirt.
The only thing I made up was I don't know exactly where in the batting that I actually hit the ball,
Okay.
but it was either my first or second game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I got a lot more details. I think that might be the college.
I like that she had to name the skunk.
Yeah, well, you have
It's like,
to.
oh, well,
Yeah.
okay.
Then it's your
Here
pet.
you are.
Yeah, this is
Once you name it.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. My prompt was once when I was in kindergarten. Once when I was in kindergarten, there was the cutest boy named Mark. He was a little taller than me, and he had the cutest smile. I was instantly in love, and I know he was with me, too. He always held my hand when we went down to the cafeteria for lunch. He was the first to offer to play house at playtime. Out on the playground, he always asked to push me on the swings. On this particular day, we were supposed to lay down on our mats for nap time. The teacher wasn't paying attention, and we each placed our mats on the edge of our boys' side and girls' side so we could be close together. A nap was the farthest from our minds. We stared at one another, making faces and quietly laughing. I accidentally snorted when he made the pig nose and pulled down eyes. Pulled down bottom rims of his eyes. Mrs. Woods pursed her lips in a disapproving bunch, and she pointed her fingers toward the door of the hallway. Out in the hall, Mark and I stood for what seemed like half an hour. Then out came Mrs. Woods. She asked us what was so funny. Neither of us wanted to share. We knew we were being bad. She asked if we wanted to talk to the principal, Mr. Kleckner, and we both looked up with our scared puppy dog eyes, shaking our heads no. Mark finally confessed. She smirked, said we should be napping, and told us to never do it again, or else she would have us go see Mr. Kleckner, and he wouldn't be so nice.
That's true, isn't it?
I think it's mostly true. I don't know about their age.
I'll say true. Yeah, I'll say true.
Ladies.
More.
I would say a little true.
Yeah, a little true.
I know that that Mr. Kleckner is true. we went to the same schools, but I'm a couple years younger than she is. Yeah, that story's true.
The only thing true about it is Mr. Kleckner, Mrs. Woods, and there was a boy named Mark that was in my grade.
Wow.
And he didn't really do this thing?
No, he was so cute. Well, he was cute, but he was always so serious.
That's why I thought it was true, because you made the face, and I thought it had to be true.
Well, she threw me because, she was using real names. And I met Mr. Kleckner before he retired.
The thing that threw me was a kindergartner madly in love.
Yeah.
That's ew, girls.
Yeah.
No, actually, though, I
Carol
mean,
started early.
like in first grade is when I actually started having a crush on him.
Oh.
So, I mean, it wasn't farther behind, but
And it's a little known fact that Carol kept me from being ran over on the bus because she was my bus guard when I was in third grade and she was in fifth. I don't remember her. But
I don't remember him either.
But I was definitely on the
it's
bus
like
that
we
she was
we
on
actually like crossed paths when we were kids.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
They write that
And I
story,
didn't
too.
die, so she must have saved me.
It was meant to be so that 30 years
Right.
later we would
Yeah.
run into each other and.
This sounds
We didn't
like a
know each other in
comedy.
school.
Right.
You pass and there's
How
this.
did you save him? You kept him from being run over by the
I was the
bus.
bus guard, so I would cross the thing. So I always tease him. I'm like, I saved you.
Yeah. For something, I
Your
guess.
life.
A spin-off of How I Met Your Mother, How I Met the Crossing Guard.
There's the one with Dharma and Greg.
Oh,
They actually had crossed paths on the subway or something. And
wow.
it's just, I laugh because it's like, yeah, kind of.
I guess I should have saved somebody when I was a kid.
Well, this is like me and my husband. Are you familiar with the Swinston's restaurants?
Yeah.
My husband, his mom, the chili recipe is hers, and so is the hamburger meat
Oh my
is her
gosh.
recipe. But he was there, and him and I never met each other. And he was a manager. My husband's 7 years older than me. So when I was a fountain girl, he was managing the one over here on Cuyahoga Falls Avenue, and so somewhere down the line, I ended up marrying him. And I'm like, no, this should have never happened. Like, because I was a fountain girl, he was a manager. Like, in the age range there shouldn't have been. He was like, you're going to be my wife. I'm like, never. And I went on to move to Columbus, Ohio. And then, so yeah, that story is in itself. So yeah, when you have to cross paths and come back around that path again, and we're still together, I'm like, geez, I should have took a left and went to Cincinnati.
How much older did you say he was? 7 years
7
old?
years. Yeah, so but it's just funny because people be like, Earl, maybe? They're like, how y'all? I don't know. I was a fountain girl. So you guys were destined to be together.
That's great.
That was cool.
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
really
story
nice.
in itself.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I would like to hear at our next meetup sometime in the future. I would like to hear her side and his side of the story. Yeah, we have a writer that does that. He'll give you one perspective of this person and then give you another perspective. They do it in first person. He writes in first person, so it'll be this person in the male view and then this person in the female view, and somehow they come together, but they do this, and it's weird. But she knows what I'm talking. Russ writes like that.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize he did on two different, yeah.
It
I don't
always
know if
just
I've
seemed
ever-
like it's always that guy,
Someone's always
the
dying,
the
though.
murderer.
Well, no, you read Trash Can in the first anthology.
Okay.
Okay.
Trash Can, and then if you flip further in the book, is Trash Bags.
Oh, yeah.
But he
I do
writes
remember
from the
that,
male
okay.
perspective and then the female perspective, but they
Yes.
both go together of how they're watching. It's really
Yeah,
weird
yeah, I
how he
remember
does it, but it's so cool.
Yeah, okay, I do remember
Yeah.
that one.
Well, he talked about like how I did the one story about the shaver. We we were first starting to date, and we went out to eat with a bunch of friends, and he kept picking on me. And I'm like, I'm getting pissed. Well, then we went to Mark's, and I'm like, I'm going to get him back. It's just that's me. It's like I'm going to sit there and just do a little dig to get back at him. So we're walking around the store, and I don't even know what he was looking at. Well, then
I was ahead of
it's
him.
like this amazing thing opened up in the sky that sat there and let the light down onto an electric shaver. And so I picked it up, and I got this big shit-eating grin on my face, and across Mark's, I go, "Hey, Dawn! Here's that electric shaver you needed to shave your pubic hairs."
Oh, no.
And I just turned around and go, good one.
This lady
I
was
was-
walking towards me. She's just cracking up. She's like, "Oh, that's priceless."
Of course, I was embarrassed, and I had trouble going back to Mark's for a while.
With her, yes.
Yes.
He still won't go into stores
Yes.
with
No,
me.
I can't imagine.
But he wants to
why.
write his side of it now. So we've always talked about doing that where it's his, he said, she
I
said
just don't
kind of.
remember
Yeah.
picking on you, though. That's the only thing. But I'm sure I can make that up.
I'm curious, how many anthologies has the group done?
Just two.
Okay, I need to get a hold of them so I can see what the group does.
Okay.
And you might even find one of these are inspired that you want to put one of them in there too. So
Yeah, I mean, people put all kinds of different
Here's
things
the
in.
sheet from the first anthology. I don't have the book with me. It's sitting on my desk at home.
Is
And then-
this for me to keep?
Yeah, you can keep that.
Otherwise,
That-
I could take a picture of it.
No, that's yours. You can keep that.
Are you guys going to do a sheet for the second one?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do those for Barnes and Noble.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So anybody else want a sheet from the first one?
No,
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
It's just basically it tells like the stories and how they were
Yeah.
written.
if Carol and I were not in the first one,
I was just looking for another piece of paper to write my next story on.
So how does this work? Once you do an anthology, then does everybody in the group purchase the book?
Well, the book comes free. It's a $10 submission
Yeah, you
for
pay-
the application.
I see.
$10
Yeah.
per art.
So that you can sit, I see.
Thing.
Yeah, so you can have bragging rights, of course.
How long are the pieces?
You know what? I found some blank paper. That's what I was looking for. Okay, the piece. Well, I do have. I was just. Give me 1 second. I can tell you that in one
I
moment.
thought it was right there. That
I just did have. I did have that. I put it in the back of the book.
I think the one piece I put in was maybe 5,000 words. And mine was one of the bigger ones.
it can be like as short as a poem
Yeah,
on
I had a
up
couple
to.
poems also.
Can be anything. huh?
Yeah. I had a couple of submission forms.
I think
here
the only poems
that
I'll
give
ever
you
write for
an
the rest of my life.
Just 16. Yeah, here it is. Just to give you a general idea of, or you can pass that.
And what are these
That'll
now?
give you a general. Did you get
These are the guidelines for the.
Yeah, those guidelines are not going to change. They're going
And
to
the
be the same
anthology,
thing next.
the last one just came out, in March?
Yeah.
So,
That's the one you showed us.
yeah, that's the one that just came out.
Right here. Got the pretty bright colors.
Many shades of voices.
Do you do like one a year or?
Yes, that is the plan
goal?
to do one a year. This
That's
is our
nice.
second year meeting together, so we're going to just do them on up the line.
Okay.
But it's neat because so many people want to be published authors. It gives you the opportunity to be
To
a
be
published
published.
author.
Yes.
Sure, it's a great idea.
Does anybody want to take a real quick break?
Yeah,
Get something
I'm
to drink
Yeah,
or eat?
I want to
Okay.
bite my sandwich.
You want to bite your sandwich?
It's still sitting here, yeah.